This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
Is ChatGPT in trouble? Well, Anthropic Claude just dropped 3.5 Sonnet with artifacts. Speaking of dropping, well, NVIDIA dropped after becoming the most valuable company in the world. They aren't anymore. And an OpenAI co-founder is starting a new company that I think is going to be pretty impactful. Yeah, as always, so much going on in the world of AI news. You can spend hours a day trying to keep up and trying to really understand what it means for you and growing your company and growing your career. Or you could just tune in here every Monday where we bring you the AI news that matters. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and this is Everyday AI. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And this is for you. It's your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter, helping us all learn and leverage generative AI to grow your company and grow your career. And one of the hardest parts about doing just that is keeping up with everything that's going on, right? Because you're trying to make long-term plans for your company, and you see all this stuff that's going on, and you're like, well, what does it actually mean? Well, that's what we do every single Monday is we tell you what it actually means. So if you're joining us on the podcast, check out your show notes, a link to our website there, and a lot more. So go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. So yes, we do the news on Monday, but we do this every single weekday. Normally, we're bringing on expert guests. And then in our newsletter, we always recap the show for each day, as well as share about news every day, fresh finds from across the internet, and just what you need to know to get ahead and stay ahead with generative AI. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into it and go over the AI news that matters for the week of June 24th. A lot going on. Let's jump right into it. So Runway has struck back with its new Gen-3 alpha in the AI video generation wars. Yeah, it's been crazy. All right, so Runway has introduced Gen-3 alpha, a significant advancement in generative AI video creation following the successes of its Gen-1 and Gen-2 models. So this new model, not yet publicly available, but it promises high quality, detailed, and highly realistic 10-second video clips with a variety of emotional expressions and camera movements. All right, so Runway has obviously been one of the leaders in the AI video space, but their new product here, Gen-3 Alpha, boasts faster generation times with a 5-second clip taking 45 seconds and a 10-second clip taking 90 seconds to generate. So we'll see what those generation times are once it's actually rolled out, because once these new updates come, they're going to get slammed, right? So the minute or the day or the hour that this drops, if you go on there, yeah, it's going to take a lot longer than that. But the model will initially be available to just paid subscribers, with plans to extend access to free users in the future, which is pretty important there. Runway's co-founder confirmed that the model will be released to paying subscribers in a matter of days. So we heard this. It's been a matter of days now, so we'll see when that actually happens. But Runway's Gen-3 Alpha represents a pretty big step forward toward building what they call general world models, which aims to simulate a wide range of real world situations and interactions. So yeah, the last couple of weeks, if I'm being honest, the last couple of weeks here in June 2024 and late May, I mean, we've seen more action in this AI video space than the previous 5 months, right? So we saw the Kling AI video generation product from the Chinese company. Right now, that's not available to anyone unless you have a Chinese phone number, and you can verify that. But then we saw Dream Machine, right? We saw Dream Machine from Luma Labs released publicly to everyone. That was about a week ago. And, Sora, we are still waiting from Sora from OpenAI. So, I talked about this on the show over the last couple of weeks, that it seems like Runway and Pika Labs might be falling behind with some of these new competitors, right? So obviously OpenAI's Sora is not out yet, which did seem just light years from a quality standpoint ahead of everyone else, right? So OpenAI has made Sora available to a lot of, higher end content creators, to red teamers, to some very visible people, and then to people like, oh, Ashton Kutcher has access, right? But the generations we've seen from Sora, I think, put it far ahead, not far ahead, but at least decidedly ahead of everyone else. But then I think you have Kling kind of in there in the conversation. And now we're going to be looking at Runway in this new Gen 3 alpha. And if this is going to kind of jump over the upstart, startup dream machine from Luma Labs. So we'll see where this goes once it's available. But I mean, initial generations look pretty impressive. So make sure to check out the newsletter today, because we will be sharing some of those generations so you can see. All right. Got to get a little drink of coffee in. All right. Speaking of competitor products and some pretty exciting releases, well, hey, big news. Anthropic just unveiled Claude 3.5 Sonnet, a pretty big breakthrough in AI chatbot technology. So Anthropic, a key player in the AI industry, has introduced Claude 3.5 Sonnet, its latest and most powerful artificial intelligence model. So Claude 3.5 Sonnet boasts enhanced capabilities in understanding nuances, humor, and complex instructions, making it proficient in generating high-quality content with a natural tone. The new model is much faster than its predecessor. Kind of the most powerful model previously was Claude 3 Opus. More on that in a second, showcasing the company's commitment to innovation and advancements in the AI chatbot space. So the new Claude 3.5 Sonnet is available for free on the Claude.ai website and the Claude iPhone app, catering to a wide audience interested in leveraging this new cutting-edge AI technology. What I think is the attention grabber here is the introduction of what they're calling artifacts, which further enhances user experiences by enabling tasks such as generating text documents or code and providing dynamic workspace for real-time editing and collaboration. So this development signifies a significant step forward in the AI technology, offering users improved functionality and efficiency in various tasks, from content creation to code execution. And obviously, what we got to talk about now is the unveiling of Claude 3.5 Sonnet reflects the ongoing evolution and competition in the AI industries, with companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, continually pushing the boundaries to deliver more advanced solutions to the market. So let's talk a little bit here about the strategy in some of these new features, right? So kind of the strategy side. So previously, when we got Claude 3, we had Claude 3 Haiku. And this is in order from kind of the quote unquote least powerful to most powerful. So we got Haiku, we got Sonnet, and then we got Opus. So Opus was technically their most powerful model. So a lot of people were wondering, this 3.5 version only came to the middle model, only came to Sonnet. And a lot of people are wondering why. I have some brief takeaways on that. But first, I want to talk about the benchmarks. So what's important to always keep in mind whenever a new company releases a new model, they always bring with it their own benchmarks, right? What's important to keep in mind is these benchmarks are always kind of by the company. Generally they are confirmed by third parties, but just keep that in mind. But from a benchmarks standpoint, this kind of quote unquote middle model, but the updated version 3.5 Sonnet is already benchmarking ahead of the kind of newer model from OpenAI, their GPT-4o, right? Which was just released a couple, technically like a month and a half ago now, right? So a lot of just back and forth. It's a slugfest. And poor Google Gemini and all this doesn't really get any of the headlines. It's curious how far behind Google seemingly is. And it's really just been OpenAI and Anthropic just trading blows back and forth in terms of who is going to have the most powerful model, right? And we're going to be talking more about this later this week, and talking about some of these benchmarks, the MMLU benchmark, also like kind of the release cycle here. Very interesting, right? So essentially when Claude 3 came out, They were kind of the quote unquote top dog for just a couple of weeks. Until then, OpenAI released their updated model. They kind of came out with the GPT-4 Turbo, and now we have the GPT-4o. So it's just been a slugfest back and forth, and everyone wants to be kind of the highest rated in these benchmarks, the most capable models. So the interesting strategy here that we see from Anthropic is updating the middle model. And you might be wondering why. Similarly, when we saw Meta, Facebook parent company there, they released their pretty much open source model Llama 3. But they didn't release yet their biggest version, the 400 billion parameter version. So it seems like it's a cat and mouse game right now, because I think it is widely known in the industry that whenever OpenAI does unleash, whether it's called GPT-5, GPT Next, you've seen different kind of names floated out there. Maybe it'll just be GPT 4.5. We're not sure. But it seems like these other companies are kind of holding back and waiting for this next OpenAI release. They kind of see, okay, we can release this middle model, or in Meta's case, right? Meta's middle model did very well, right? From a size, it is, might be a champion of its weight class, so to speak. But pretty interesting developments and a pretty interesting strategy here from Anthropic with their new Claude 3.5 Sonnet, just by updating the middle model. The artifacts feature, fantastic. We did a pretty quick review a couple hours after it came out on our YouTube channel. Yeah, it sounds weird talking about the YouTube channel, but pretty good, pretty good comparison. We'll try to throw that in the show notes, or you can just go check it out. Find Everyday AI on YouTube there. But the artifacts feature, I think, more so than the benchmarks, right? The benchmarks are going to come and go, right? The benchmarks, could be gone next week if OpenAI decides to, release its new model, and they'll probably be crushing everyone else in the benchmarks. I do assume whenever OpenAI releases their next model, they're going to be so far ahead, it's not going to be close. Anyways, the artifacts feature, though, I don't think is getting a lot of shine, right? So essentially, you have this kind of dual panel. And on the right-hand side, you essentially get a live preview. So let's say you're doing some code generation, right? Generally what you would have to do is copy and paste that code. You'd have to go into some kind of environment, maybe your website, or, a site like Replit, where you can just sign up for a free account and essentially, deploy sandbox instances to see, oh, does this code work? So what I love from this artifacts feature from Anthropic is it does it right there for you, right? It literally renders the code that you're working on. It can render, different types of files, SVGs, interactive dashboards, right? Like, this changes, I think, how large language models can be used. I think they're actually, if I'm being honest, I think they're actually borrowing from the OpenAI playbook, because we actually first saw this in the GPT builder, right, from OpenAI. And now that you have the ability to build a GPT kind of conversationally on the right-hand panel. So you have this in OpenAI when you're building a GPT. You can kind of build it on the left-hand side. That's just a custom version of ChatGPT. If you don't know, you can upload your own knowledge base, etc. And then on the right-hand side, it renders out. So I think they're taking a page from OpenAI, but hey, they're the first ones to actually bring it like this, right? To be able to see how this, graph might look, how this web design might work, how this other design might work, to be able to render it in real time, I think is a pretty game-changing feature from Anthropic. I've been kind of hard on Anthropic just because, if I'm being honest, I don't use it a lot, right? I've paid for it since day one. I always go in there, I would say at least a couple of times a week. But the fact that it is not connected in real time to the internet, I think is a huge disservice. But we're going to have more on that later. Actually, tomorrow, we're going to be comparing Anthropic's new Claude 3.5 Sonnet and how it compares to ChatGPT's 4.0. So we're going to have more on that tomorrow. Don't want to give it all away, but make sure to check out that show. All right, our next piece of AI news. Well, we have tech titans just jostling for the title of the top company in America and, well, the world. So NVIDIA, last week, their share price soared to an all-time high, giving it a market capitalization of $3.34 trillion, which is nearly doubling its market cap since the beginning of the year. That's wild to think about. All right. So, with that, NVIDIA briefly held the title of the world's most valuable company by market cap. So, the company's NVIDIA's growth has been fueled by its straight up dominance in providing GPU chips for artificial intelligence, which a lot of people are considering, the new gold or oil or data, like, right? Whatever the most valuable thing in the world is. Right now, it is GPUs, it seems like, because that's what is, kind of launching companies into being the most valuable in the world. However, NVIDIA's shares slumped Friday and Microsoft regained the top spot. So Microsoft reclaimed the top spot as NVIDIA's shares fell by about 4%, reducing their market cap now to about 3.1 trillion. So yeah, pretty bad day for NVIDIA to lose $200 billion in market cap in a single day on Monday. But, this stuff goes back and forth. So we've seen just over the last week, I don't know the last time that this has happened, that there has been three companies in Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA that are constantly going back and forth for the kind of the quote unquote title as the most valuable company in America. It's been interesting to watch, sometimes changing multiple times a day. So kind of analysts right now are predicting a race to $4 trillion market cap in tech between NVIDIA, Apple, and Microsoft. So pretty meteoric rise, obviously, out of NVIDIA, whereas, 3 years ago, unless you were maybe a Bitcoin miner or a gamer, or you really just followed semiconductor technology, most people in the world had never heard of NVIDIA, right? Whereas other, kind of big name companies like, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, everyone else has been a household name. So, NVIDIA has literally come out of nowhere for the most part over the last year and a half, 2 years, to now being a world superpower, which obviously we told you about a year ago on this show. We said, no one's paying attention to NVIDIA. You need to be paying attention. We called it back then. We said they're going to become the most important company probably in the world. And we've already seen that now. All right. Speaking of, hey, if you're on the podcast, have on our screen here kind of a photo of NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. They're talking about the NVIDIA news. Do you know that he actually had a clone made of himself by the company Hour One? So we can talk about, did we make news? Maybe. I think we actually did. So, hey, it's our show. I can report on this. So speaking of some kind of news here, yeah, we kind of made some news, I think. So we partnered with Hour One last week, and I believe we became the first ever to do a live AI clone to human interview. I think that's a thing, but yeah, we did it. So we did partner with Hour One last week to create a super realistic AI clone of myself. And then my clone interviewed me. Yeah, kind of meta, right? I'm here telling you about last week when my clone interviewed me. I kind of think I got my butt kicked. I don't know. Our live stream audiences, if you caught that one last week, let me know. I think actually my AI clone got the better of me. But a couple of kind of big names have done this as well. So like I said, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang worked with Hour One, the company, to do this. The same thing with LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman. So, let me know if the three of our clones should maybe do a show together. Me, the LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. I kind of think we should get that going, but let me know in the comments if that would be a fun one. Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too. just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI. All right. Our next piece of AI news. Yeah, just a lot of OpenAI related news here. So, OpenAI has partnered with Color Health to enhance cancer screening and treatments using AI models. So, Color Health's AI Copilot, which is powered by the GPT-4o model, assists doctors in creating personalized cancer screening and pre-treatment plans. So the Copilot integrates with patient data, clinical guidelines, and AI technology to optimize diagnostic tests and streamline the pre-treatment process. So early studies are showing that a month's delay in cancer treatment can increase mortality by 6 to 13%, highlighting the critical role of efficient AI-assisted processes. So this new collaboration aims to alleviate administrative burdens on oncologists, allowing them to focus on critical decision-making in cancer care when treating cancer patients. All right, more open AI news. Yeah, it's been a lot of it this week. So this one I think is pretty big. I don't think enough people are talking about this one. So OpenAI has acquired Rockset. All right, so Rockset is a search, kind of a database analytics startup. So this acquisition here came in a stock deal, reportedly valued at a few $100 million. So Rockset is known for its real-time search and analytics databases and will bring expertise in real-time data processing and vector search to enhance OpenAI's enterprise products. So the acquisition aims to improve OpenAI's ability to quickly assess and analyze vast amounts of information, leading to faster and more accurate responses from AI models. So Rockset's team will join OpenAI, powering the retrieval infrastructure of the ChatGPT maker's enterprise products. OpenAI's move to acquire Rockset signifies its commitment to expanding offerings and staying competitive in the AI market, particularly in the enterprise sector. So the integration of Rockset's technology is expected to benefit enterprises by providing tools to rapidly index and search through their data, potentially improving operational efficiency and decision-making process. I think this is a huge piece of news that hardly no one is talking about. I think maybe one of the reasons why is this does just this does just kind of affect enterprise customers, right? And obviously OpenAI and ChatGPT with hundreds of millions of customers, so many of them are consumer, right? But this is huge because one of the knocks on all large language models, right? Not just ChatGPT. Maybe in this space, actually, Gemini is a little ahead of everyone else. But, same thing with Anthropic Claude. So one of the biggest things is, well, hey, these large language models are great and we see the capabilities of them. However, what about our company's data, right? Especially an enterprise company. That's what makes it difficult, right? Because when you look at these models, you have what's generally called a training date cutoff or a knowledge cutoff, right? And sometimes it can go up to 6, 8, 9 months, right? Depending on how quickly these companies are updating their models. So that means, let's say you're an enterprise company. First of all, you don't necessarily know if the information that these big large language models have scraped is the most up-to-date and accurate information even as of that cutoff date. So that is one of the biggest problems, and it does actually cause hallucinations, right? Because if a model isn't 100% sure, if you're asking it a very specific query, that's one of the reasons why sometimes you get these vague cookie cutter responses, right? So this move from OpenAI, I think, is pretty huge, and it will impact some enterprise customers. So we were actually doing a training for an enterprise company last week, and this is one of the most common, questions that we get in prompt engineering in general, especially when we're helping companies, right? That's something we do. So if that's something you need help with, make sure to reach out to us. However, companies are like, wait, even if we have the enterprise version of ChatGPT, it's not connected to our data, right? It's our workspace. We can create GPTs with our own data. It's like, no, it's your own data is not there. It's not live. So I think this is a pretty big play in that space. With OpenAI's acquisition of Rockset, trying to, I don't know if this will, in theory, solve quote unquote retrieval augmented generation. So we talk about bringing RAG to models, right? So you can bring your own kind of data, but right now you have to use a third party, right? You have to build a solution around this, and you can't really do this out of the box inside the kind of quote unquote chat interface of ChatGPT. You have to build this. You have to be able to work with third-party tools, systems, integrations, APIs, your data warehouses, etc. So it's going to be interesting to see how OpenAI uses this Rockset kind of acquisition to maybe change that. I don't know if it'll solve it, but it's going to change it, I think, for sure. All right. And our last piece of AI news for the day, or might be for the week, but again, huge. This is huge. I don't think, people are really paying enough attention to this either. But the former co-founder of OpenAI, Ilya Sutskever, has launched a new venture called Super Intelligence Inc., focusing on developing safe and powerful artificial intelligence to rival kind of his former company, or at least what they're trying to do in this safety sector. So Ilya's departure from OpenAI and the subsequent launch of SSI, so again, that's Safe Super Intelligence Inc., it highlights the increasing concerns in the tech industry regarding the safe and responsible development of AI technologies. So SSI aims to prioritize safety in AI advancements, in contrast to concerns raised about prioritizing commercial growth over long-term safety at OpenAI. So obviously, if you follow the everyday AI show here, there's been a lot of kind of safety shakeups or deprioritization at OpenAI. It's kind of their internal team has kind of been dismantled, their safety team. So the launch of SSI reflects a shift toward prioritizing safety and progress without being influenced by short-term commercial pressures. So that's, kind of some of when these safety team leads at OpenAI have kind of left over the last month or two. They said, hey, right now, safety is not a big of a concern as it should be. And they kind of accused OpenAI of prioritizing shiny features and product updates over safety, which is something that OpenAI, I think many years ago, before all of these, big partnerships now with Microsoft and partnerships with Apple, seemingly OpenAI, at least publicly, seem to be much more focused on safety and the future of, how AI and large language models can benefit humanity. Obviously, they haven't pivoted completely away from that, but it does seem like, at least publicly, that doesn't seem like as much of a priority anymore, which is kind of understandable, right? The fact that OpenAI is essentially going to be powering literally almost every single device, right? Not every single one, but I would say more than 2/3 of devices it is going to be powering, right? Because Microsoft's Copilot is powered by GPT-4o from OpenAI, and all of Apple's products that they just announced at WWDC, their future quote unquote Apple Intelligence AI is going to be powered by the GPT-4o technology as well. So here you have OpenAI, which 3-4 years ago, hardly anyone had heard of. Now they are literally going to be powering almost the future of how we work. Obviously, Google has their Gemini products in their Samsung Android devices. But, for the most part, when you're talking about, desktop computers, laptops, obviously those two, it's just Microsoft and Apple have the lion's share, right? So yeah, if you're talking about smartphones, Google obviously, has a big slice of the pie there. But hey, for the most part, OpenAI, I get it. I get how maybe their focus now is a little bit more on these products, right? Because you have now this responsibility to power the future of how we all work. So I do understand maybe how, at least from a front-facing perspective, how OpenAI is maybe seemingly focused less on safety. I don't think it's a good thing. I think they should be focusing more on safety. But I understand with especially the kind of announcements, right? So Microsoft at their Build conference just, kind of talked about a huge increase in their partnership and depth of their partnership with OpenAI. And then, Apple going from 0 to 100 with OpenAI. So I like this approach from, former OpenAI co-founder and Ilya Sutskever, who is, widely regarded as one of the brightest minds in artificial intelligence, maybe ever, but essentially, especially of today's current day. So I think this is super important with his SSI, this new company, but having a third party that is really dedicated to making sure that these AI systems are safe. So we don't know yet exactly what SSI will be focusing on, but I think it's important, right? I think Google does a pretty good job with safety. You have kind of DeepMind, which is almost its separate, separate entity. Microsoft, I think, does pretty well as well. They have their separate branch now called Microsoft AI. But OpenAI doesn't, and OpenAI is seemingly looks like safety is being deprioritized. So I think it's important for kind of a quote unquote impartial third party to be leading the way on safety. I think probably out of all of the companies, I would say actually Anthropic has had the deepest and maybe the best commitment to safety, at least with all of these tech trillionaire or startup unicorns. I think Anthropic and OpenAI are past the unicorn status. I don't know what comes after unicorn. I think we have to make up a word there. Once when an AI startup hits $1 billion valuation, you get unicorn status. So now that they have $100 billion valuation, we'll have to come up with something else. Super unicorns. Anyways, I think Anthropic, at least of the companies building the AI models, has really taken the lead in safety. But pretty huge news here from Ilya Sutskever on the SSI. All right, that is a hopefully quick-ish recap on the AI news that matters for the week of June 24th. All right, let's run it down super quickly. So Runway has struck back in the AI video wars with their Gen-3 Alpha, which should be released any minute, any day now. Then we have Anthropic. Speaking of big releases, Anthropic unveiled their Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is already benchmarking as the most capable model. Then we have tech titans just jostling for the title of most valuable company in America and actually the world. So we saw NVIDIA briefly claim that title, but now Microsoft is back and Apple in number 2 with NVIDIA as number 3. Hey, it looks like everyday AI. We kind of made news of ourselves here with the first ever that we believe, couldn't find any evidence anywhere else, of a clone interviewing its counterpart live. So yeah, my AI clone interviewed me. Think I got my butt kicked. Then we have startup Color Health and OpenAI partnered for a cancer research pilot. More OpenAI news where they acquired Rockset to enhance infrastructure for enterprise products and customers. And then the former OpenAI co-founder Ilya Sutskever just announced his new company, Safe Super Intelligence Inc., to focus on safety. You got to love that he just skipped AGI, artificial general intelligence, and went straight to super intelligence. Talk about working in the future and getting ahead. Love to see it. All right, speaking of the future, tomorrow, make sure to join us. Yes, that Anthropic Claude 3.5. I think it's actually super impressive and the one feature that I think OpenAI is going to have to respond to sooner rather than later. So make sure to check that out and make sure if this was helpful, if you're listening on the podcast, please, if you want to help us out, I hope this show helps you. Please leave us a rating, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. If you're on the live stream, appreciate our live stream audience as always. Please click that repost button. It takes you, 5 seconds. We spend hours every single day trying to bring you not just the AI news that matters, but insights from experts that can help you grow your company. So, people all the time say, hey, Jordan, this has been so helpful. How can I help? Well, click that repost button if you're here on LinkedIn, or maybe tag someone that needs to hear this. And then last but not least, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter, and we'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.